Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and a band just started playing outside my window here, so hopefully you can't hear them. I'm recording this on July 4th. I recently played a game called Applejack on Board Game Arena, and the photos from Board Game Arena or the screenshots didn't turn out all that well, so I used these images, which also didn't turn out all that well, from Board Game Geek on my printer, but you can kind of see the concept of the game. It's a game where you are gaining these tiles, placing them, these hex-shaped tiles, you're placing them in your little grove, and ending up with a full board, which I think is a nice little bonus. In some games, many games really, tile placement games where you have a board, you don't always end up filling them up. And in Applejack, the game is essentially designed around you filling up your board. You're always going to place the tile, whether it's face up paying the cost or placing it face down and not paying the cost. It's these tiles that I wanted to talk about today because I think there's a really clever, tiny little hook in the mechanism of placing these tiles face up in particular. So when you select a tile, which is related to this track, I won't go into that, but you'll have a few different tiles that you can choose from. You'll pick a tile, and then you'll place it anywhere you want on your board. I think it might need to be adjacent to something else, but not necessarily. The game incentivizes you to place adjacent. But you're going to pay the cost indicated on one of the little beehives on the tile. And all the beehives say the same number on each tile. So for example, this tile, you can barely read it, but it says 6 in both places. So you are going to pay 6 honey. And this is meaningful in the game because you have limited resources, especially early in the game. It can be a little tight. And honey ends up being points at the end of the game. So the less you spend, the more points you'll gain at the end of the game. Directly, honey equals points. It's both the resource and the points. And here's where the little twist comes in. You must pay that cost. So you place the tile, you must pay that cost. There's no discount at all. You must pay that cost. But after you place it, you look to see if you connected your little beehive directly to any other beehives. And if so, as you can see here, I did that twice with this tile. If so, you look at the lower number between those two beehives in the link for each link, and you gain that much honey back. So that is actually how you gain more resources, how you gain more points. So for example, this one says 6 and a 4. 4 is the lower number. So after I place this tile, after I pay 6 total for this tile, I gain 4 honey. Then this link is also here. This one says 6 and 9. And so 6 is the lower number here. I gained 6. So in placing this tile and paying 6, I then gained 10 resources back. So I netted plus 4. I did better than I could have. And that feels really good. It feels great to gain that big benefit back. And I think it's really clever that it wasn't a discount, that you do have to pay the cost for this tile. And that so there's a payment and then there's a reward, 2 separate steps of placing this tile. And it gave a really nice spatial puzzle to which tiles you wanted to choose, because you could choose tiles with more links, but typically they're more expensive, and where you place the tile, and where you place tiles to position them so that later on you can gain a tile that touches multiple links and you get more resources, more points back. This worked well with my mind. I did very, very well in the first game, which I don't always do in first-time games, especially spatial games like this, but I really like this optimization puzzle of trying to link as many beehives as possible to gain those extra points. Also, just a small shout out to graphic design, and you can't really see it all that well here, but in the game, the action selection system really is an action selection. On your turn, you are moving this die, and the number on it, you're never rolling the die just shows which round it is, which actually impacts the cost of things a little bit. But you're moving this die around the track one space. And the clever graphic design element here is that, and you can't really see it here, but there are different shapes on the board. And at first I was like, what are those shapes for? But what they indicate is each player is a different shape. And so I think we played a 4-player game, maybe a 5-player game. I think it was 4 players. You could look ahead to see, okay, in a few turns, these are the tiles that I will have to choose from, and this is the income that I will have passed at that time, because you can look ahead and see the shapes. Instead of having to count, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's me, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's my next turn, you can just look at the shapes on the board and see what all of your turns are. So that was a little clever twist there. So yeah, Applejack, really enjoyed this on Board Game Arena, and I look forward to seeing if my first game success was a fluke or not. Let me know your thoughts if you played Applejack in the comments. Let me know in the comments, or if you can think of another game where tile placement includes a link system like this for not a discount, but a reward when you place it. That felt really good to me in Applejack. Thanks.